What's Shakin' Bacon? I'm Joni Simon, food photographer. Welcome to my studio. This is part 5 in a series all about food photography and product photography pricing. One of the mistakes I made early on in doing photo and video work for clients was not charging for the various expenses I needed in order to make a project happen. Groceries, of course, being one of the main ones as a food photographer. Now, when I create an estimate, I have my photography fee, which we've talked about in the previous lessons, but I also now include the additional expenses. So for example, when I create an estimate for a brand where they need me to do the food shopping and the preparation and the styling, I'm going to include an expense line item for the estimated costs for groceries. Now, I've personally found around $75 a recipe to be a good average, though absolutely based on your location, type of photography, also the type of food, that number will vary. And then I also include expenses like the cost for a food stylist, production assistant, rental, equipment rentals. Again, the expenses are going to depend on what the project is. And so again, this is why we talked about in the last lesson, asking lots of good questions is important because I want to know, are they providing the food or is that something I need to do? Do I need to buy the food or pay someone else to prepare it for me? I want to account for all those expenses in the estimate for the client so they can have a good sense of what this total project is going to cost. I like to minimize surprises as much as possible. Now, some of these expenses you may not know the exact costs of ahead of time, or the client's a little bit murky on some of the details of the project, and you have this sneaking suspicion that there's going to be groceries added or additional props that you're going to need. And so in those situations, I'll include a line item on the estimate like you see here with a TBD. And then I make sure to communicate that with the client when I present the estimate. And I also include that in the contract, just a line about the fact that all expenses will be included in the final invoice once the project is done. Now notice how I said communicate. Throughout this entire process of estimating a project and negotiation, communication and expectations are key. A lot of times, and I know this because it's a very natural impulse to not want to talk about things like money and who's responsible for what out of fear that you're going to, be seen as demanding or difficult, or that you're going to do something wrong and lose the opportunity. But the truth is, the mark of a professional is someone who takes responsibility, who makes sure clear expectations are set and can deliver on what the client needs. And so the best way to take great care of your clients is to address concerns or potential pitfalls right away, head on, because the longer you leave something up to chance or avoid talking about it, the worse it will get, I promise. And along those same lines is the topic of licensing, which admittedly is a very dense topic. That's why there are 5 in-depth lessons and a several-page licensing pricing guide inside my business course to navigate all the ins and outs of licensing and usage, and how to communicate that with clients ranging from large to small. But again, I want to get you to start thinking about licensing from a licensing frame of mind and to wrap your mind around what it is and how you can potentially charge for it in your estimates. Let's do that in the next lesson.